I'm Ryan Milliken from Hardway Performance, and you're listening to the Diesel Power Podcast.
I'm Dimitri Miller with No Zone Diesel.
This is Anthony Reams from XDP.
Jaron Holder from Holderdown Performance.
I'm Corey Willis with PPEI.
I'm Drew with D&J Precision Machine.
I'm Pinky.
And you're listening to the Diesel Power Podcast.
Diesel Power Podcast.
And you're listening to the Diesel Power Podcast.
The one and only Diesel Power Podcast.
What's up, Diesel Nation? Glad to be back again this week. We got another fantastic podcast for your listening enjoyment. But this week, it was crazy. We had so many calls from guys that listened to the podcast and, they took their trucks on, let's say, a road trip, over Memorial Day. Took it to national parks, state parks, things like that, and had transmission issues. And, this is right around the time when that stuff starts happening, when they get out there, they got trailers behind them, and might have some miles on the truck, and then all of a sudden some crazy things start to happen. But the cool thing is that you don't have to go back to stock. You don't have to just put another stock one in it, and it might last 50,000 miles, 100,000 miles, and you can't add any power because there's all stock parts in it. And the sponsor of this podcast is ATS Diesel Performance, and they've got a ton of parts to address these transmission issues. They don't have to be just race trucks, drag trucks, something that's towed in a trailer around the country. Most diesels aren't used that way. They're used for work, they're used for recreation, things like that. And they have a complete line of rebuild kits, and they cover Allison's, all the Ford transmissions from E4OD all the way on up, the Dodge transmissions, tons of different torque converter choices, stall speeds, different things that you may need to customize for your truck. And then we start to get into valve bodies, even transmission controllers, especially say on the 68 RFE, where the ATS Copilot, you get the controller and then also the valve body separator plate. So just automatically this plug and play unit is able to take the pressure up from say 160, 170 PSI up to 250 PSI or even higher. And those are the sorts of things that, if you're going to be rebuilding a transmission, you need to rebuild it. Look at the ATS product lineup. They've got a ton of choices. Whether you want to do it yourself, you want to get the parts, take them to the transmission shop, or you own a transmission shop, and you're looking for a supplier that can keep up with your workload, have different options for you. Anything from a stock type truck to a race truck. They've got it all, billet shafts, front to back in that transmission. They've got you covered. You just go to atsdiesel.com. and you can search and see exactly what's available for your truck. Just select Dodge, Ford, GM, the year you got. It's all laid out. Or you can call them. Their phone number is 866-209-3695. And the people over there are really friendly. They'll get you, connected with someone who knows basically everything about your truck, your transmission, and can help guide you through that process. And there's a special deal going on right now too. So if you call ATS, you place an order, tell the person you speak with that you heard this on the Diesel Power Podcast. You tell them that, you're going to get a free t-shirt. So they've got a couple different styles. Tell them what size you want. They'll toss it in with your order. It's free of charge, no strings attached. You don't have to like, share, comment, do anything like that. You just tell them, hey, I heard it on the Diesel Power Podcast, and you got a shirt. Now today's guest, we've been following her for a long time on social media. We're really excited to have her on. She's got a fantastic story, very inspirational story. And we think you guys are going to like it. And we want to welcome her to the podcast and jump right into it, start chatting with her, learn about her build, what inspired it, and what the automotive community has done to really change her life. We're really excited to have you on the Diesel Power Podcast today, Christy. Been following you for, quite a while on Instagram. And it's so cool how social media, we get to see all these different trucks and builds and stories that people have, and it's so easy to find it. And they've done, just drawn a ton of inspiration, from what you're doing, what you've been through, where you're going. It's really cool to have you on today and just be able to talk to you in more detail about it.
Well, thank you. I'm excited. Thank you for the opportunity.
I was, thinking, actually recently, and we talked about it a little bit before the podcast, but just how important a truck can be. and what it does. Like, sometimes people who aren't into automobiles or into trucks, they think we're crazy, right? They're like,
Yeah.
we spend all this time and everything on a vehicle, but it can really, I know for me personally, it's been able to help me get closer with some family members or friends or make friends, long time ones I've had for 10 plus years because of a vehicle and kind of our passion for it. And
Absolutely.
do you see that as well? Like, do you see that out there? Not just like now, but in the past. Have you kind of had that same experience?
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool. It's an awesome hobby to have. More of like, exactly like you said, the people that you meet, the places that you go, and where it even takes you. It's just kind of crazy how that happens, just because of an automobile,
Yeah, yeah, and especially like then with brands too. Like I have found that like one of my first memories ever of I like trucks and stuff and everything, but gosh, this was probably 10 or 12 years ago. One of my friends had bought a Power Stroke. It was like a new 6.0 when they were new at the time, and we had went to like this Power Stroke dyno day at a Ford dealership, which I thought was really cool that a Ford dealership would open up the dyno they had to a bunch of guys who modified their trucks. But it was so awesome just seeing these guys who had known each other for a long time, and it was like just the camaraderie that was there, and just getting some of those guys I still talk to, just based on that, and probably more of a Cummins guy than anything else, but it's like that brought us together.
Yeah, I love that. So for me, like, I met my husband because of his truck. I saw his truck, like, driving by, and I'm like, oh, who is that guy? And from there, it kind of, like, stemmed into, like, us going to shows together, and I just saw, like, people's reactions to, like, his big lifted truck, especially kids. Like, the look on their faces, and, like, you can just tell how they feel when they see something that big and that awesome. And I see the pride that he has when people look at it, and knowing that he built it and people love it. I kind of wanted that myself, but I kind of wanted to do it, like, for a different reason, I guess. And so I had this idea to, like, build a lifted truck for, like, disabilities and, like, and especially for, like, kids who have different abilities. So that's kind of how I got into it, and where it kind of took me. That was, like, the beginning of all of what I'm going through now. So it's definitely funny how one little thing can turn into something big and kind of change your life, and it's just like a truck. So
I think that's really, like the key, or why, in being, making a career in any industry, whether it's gas or diesel or racing or whatever it might be, is that passion. And I've seen that as well at events, at races, is kids love it. And we had done a podcast last year, and this boy, his name's Holden, he loved trucks. He loved watching them go fast. He loved diesels. He loved all those things. And just hearing that story, and what him and his family were going through, it reminded me. Sometimes, when you're around trucks and the racing and the parts and everything, you can almost become sort of numb to it. And these kind of stories remind us what this is really about, is we were all that kid or that person who at one time was just in awe of something, no matter what it was doing, whether it was going through a mud bog, or it was going down the track or sled pulling, or just the way it looked. And I wanted to ask you, and our listeners are definitely going to want to know more about your story, more about what this truck means to you, how it's helped you, say overcome certain things, and the vision it's given you, because it's inspiring. It's inspired me since the moment I saw just the page and what you're telling people, and I want them to know it as well.
yeah, so I had this idea, like kind of said before, I just wanted something like my husband now has, a big truck to kind of say like, so I'm physically handicapped, disabled. I have been like this basically my whole life, and I've pretty much been ashamed of it up until this past year when I just kind of got sick of people staring at me with my leg brace. I like wear a full-length leg brace that it's a real leg, but I've had people say, oh, do you have a fake leg, or like make all these rude comments. And so one day I just like decided, instead of hiding it and wearing jeans all the time, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to flip this around, and instead of being ashamed of my disability and like how I walk, I'm just going to flip it and I'm going to put it out there. And the minute that I decided to do that, all these doors started opening up, and I just became more confident and more proud of who I am, and I stopped caring about what people think of me. So I had this idea, like, okay, if I'm going to flip this, I want to do something big. And I decided, like, the best way to do that is, okay, why don't I just, like, have this big lifted truck like my husband does, and we can go to truck shows and kind of, like, raise disability awareness, not just for kids who have disabilities, but kids who don't have disabilities, or even adults who don't. Just kind of giving them education, like, okay, just because someone like me is different and I've been through a lot of stuff doesn't mean I can't do really big things or lead a really happy life. So came up with this idea that his truck was going to be the Beast, because it's a big diesel. It's loud and it's huge. And mine would be Disabled Beauty, except it was important for me to have a disc cross it out because, yeah, I have a disability, but really I have more abilities than I don't.
Right.
So that's kind of how I got into, like, my name, I guess, Disabled Beauty. And, yeah, so from there I kind of wrote up this idea of, like, my story and how I wanted to, like, get sponsors so I could make it really big and kind of take it to truck shows with for charity events, and not just charity events, but, like, hopefully, like, disability events, or to schools, like, to raise awareness for kids. Hopefully hospitals, or, like, different walks and runs I'll do for different organizations. So I went to Keg Media with my idea. They're like a rendering company, graphic design.
Yeah, I've seen them.
Yeah, so I kind of shared what I wanted to do. And then he asked me if I wanted to go to the SEMA show, and at that point I was like, I kind of had an idea what SEMA was, but I didn't realize how big of a deal it was. So I was like, okay, yeah. And now I'm just like, it kind of has blown up to be this big thing, and I hope to do a lot of really good things with it, because I really want to touch a lot of people, mainly younger, but even older, because I know people my age, like, it took me 30 years to be okay with being disabled and being confident enough to be who I am and be different. So I kind of want to do that for other people as well.
It's really cool because I think that that's what the community really needs, in a sense, is, you know, I can think of, in some ways, even say to talk about myself, is sometimes, like, the truck, or what it does, or what it's built to, can almost be a way to shield us from something. And to hear that you're using it not to do that, but to expand and do these new things, it's really awesome, and it's inspiring. You know, there's lots of stories we get, and lots of things that, you know, people say, hey, you know, check out this page or talk to this person, and it's so different, and it's inspiring, you know, for a lot of different reasons.
Well, for me, I go to these truck shows and car shows, and sometimes they are for, like, raising awareness, or, like, charity organizations. You just see people, not everyone, but a lot of builds just to build something and show it off. But we have the ability to, like, inspire people or change people's lives or help people. and that's pretty important to me, and I hope to see more people do that.
I think what you're doing, it's definitely going to. And like SEMA, I've never been to SEMA. I've seen it, and I know a lot of people in our industry go to it, and have truck builds and things like that. But it's, to me, like the biggest stage for everything that has a motor in it.
Yeah.
Like muscle cars, trucks, sports cars, custom one-off builds. I'm jealous you're going to be there because it is on my list of stuff I want to see.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So, like with your truck, so I know Keg Media they do like rendering, so that kind of gives you, say, the goal that you're building it towards, what you're going to do with the aesthetics and things like that. But as far as the truck itself, tell us about that. Like what vehicle you picked, and what your vision for it is, and where you want to take that part of it.
So I am in love with the F-150s, and my husband tried to talk me into like a Chevy or something else. My second favorite was the Ram diesels, but I just had my heart set on an F-150, and that's what I bought. So I got the XLT Sport.
I love the new body style. They're really nice.
I'm kind of disappointed because this year or next year they're coming out with a diesel, because I would have waited and bought that instead. But yeah, I love their body style for sure. And I got the 5-liter, so I'm going to get a 10-inch lift kit. I'm going to powder coat it pink. Big American Force wheels, Nitto tires, a 10-inch lift kit. It's just big and pink and fun, yeah. I try to make it something that you don't really see every day, and because I'm so different, so I wanted it to be so different, just like me.
I love American Force wheels. Like I'll sometimes just go on their website, and I can spend an hour or more on there just looking. I don't know. I love their designs. I love how innovative they are.
Oh yeah,
and
they're the best, I think.
They're like on the cutting edge of just style and different, sizes and different things you can do with it. And my eye, when I look at a vehicle, it always goes to two things. It always goes towards the wheels and the tire setup.
Yeah.
And then it goes to how clean the vehicle is. And by clean, I don't mean like the paint and stuff, but like the frame, the fender liners, the axles and all that sort of stuff. So I know I'm OCD with that stuff, and the people who know me know that as well. But like, I love just the amount of detail you can put into a vehicle and kind of go that extra step where people see it and they're like, wow, did you really go underneath your truck and wipe down the axles and the bottom of the body and all this stuff? And you're like, yeah, I did.
Yeah, I love that. I love their wheels too, and they can do so many different things that are customizable. And but the same thing for me, I look at the wheels and the tires first, because those things, they stand out the most to me.
Yeah. And there's other cool parts of the the build, like the motors and things you can do to the power, and those are fantastic. That's like the driving experience. But most people are never going to drive. You're not going to just have a stranger drive your truck, but they're going to see, the wheels and the tires and what you've done on the outside, and that's where you personalize it, and it makes it unique.
Yeah.
Now on your husband's truck, it's a Dodge Cummins. What year is it? Is it one of the newer body style ones?
No, it's 2011.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's huge. It's a big one. He's got turbos and all that.
All the fun stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't have a 4th generation one, but I had a 3rd generation 6.7 Cummins, and that was my first diesel, and it's what hooked me. And
yeah.
So I always have like a special place in my heart for the 6.7 Cummins and all the stuff that you can do to them, and they've come so far. Like when I bought mine, there was like a couple programmers, and everyone said, well, it sucks because it's not a 5.9, and I mean, the 5.9s are like the king of the hill, so to speak. But what they've done in the aftermarket from 2007.5 to now is amazing with what can be done. So I'm sure the sky's the limit for whatever he wants to do to that truck.
I know, and he lets me drive it too, so that's that's pretty rare. But I get to drive it, and I get just as many looks too because they're like, "She, that little girl's driving that." It's funny.
And as far as like the actual build itself, have you guys started that, or is that starting up this summer?
It's going to be partially revealed at Lifted Truck Nationals in Branson in September this year. So, partially revealed, I mean, like, everything will be done except for probably the Pro Charger and maybe, like, the tune and stuff. So, and probably not the wrap either. But, so we're getting started pretty soon because that's coming up really quick. We're just waiting on all the parts to come in, and then everything's got to get powder coated. And then just waiting, I guess, for them to finish it up. But yeah, it'll be officially done by Halloween when SEMA starts. So.
Oh, that's cool. The Pro Charger is going to be fun.
Yeah, and it's funny because I was like, can they do it in pink? So we're gonna powder coat the parts and have it put together pink. So it'll be really cool.
That's cool. Now, where can people go and find your build and the pictures and the updates and everything? Is Instagram the best place?
I post mainly on Instagram, but then I also have like my blog about like my truck and where my truck is taking me with my disability and my leg story on my website. So I kind of do a little bit of both, and on Facebook. So
what's the website address?
It's www.thisxabledbeauty.com.
I'll have to check that out. I didn't know you had a blog series on there. I love blogs, so
yeah,
definitely
I only have like a couple posts really just about like what I've been through medically, like kind of like my medical history, how I'm kind of turning around being ashamed of my disability, and how I'm doing that with my truck and the SEMA build, and then kind of where my truck has taken me with my disability to getting my leg amputated. So it's kind of crazy how all one big truck idea is taking me to get my leg cut off, but yeah, that whole story's there as well.
I think that's the social media can have, it can do really good things, and it can also just do bad things. But
yeah,
that's the power of it. Is what you're doing. I mean, it touched me and it inspired me, and I sign on and I look and I see what you posted and just different things, and from 1,000 miles away and not knowing you, to reading this story and thinking, wow, this challenge today, I can go attack it and I can overcome it, or this thing I can go do, or I'm talking to a friend or something, and just seeing what you've done has inspired and changed us, because we follow you here, so we see what you're doing and everything, and that's to me what this is all about. Doesn't matter whether it's diesel, doesn't matter whether it's gas, doesn't matter if it's Ford, GM, or Dodge, or whether it races or anything. It's what are you doing with it? And if you get people to follow you and you get people to know you, what are you doing with that? And it's awesome to see it used for something positive and not negative.
Yeah, well, I hope a lot of people start to think of how they can do that as well. And it's just funny how, like, one small thing you think is like, oh yeah, I'm going to build a truck, but how it can really change your life, because it's completely changed mine, and it's going to change mine for who knows how long. Yeah.
What about giving back and finding inspiration in it?
Yeah, for sure.
When you build something just for yourself, yeah, it's cool. Yeah, you have fun with it, but I think it eventually wears off. So when other people, find enjoyment in it, like even this podcast, I'll use it as an example, when we started, I didn't know what a podcast was. I had no idea. And, it was over a year ago, like a year and a half ago. And, we just started doing them to talk to people in the industry that we knew, or racers, or just different things that I thought, well, people would love to hear this conversation. So we sat down as a team and started doing them. And then over a year and a half, we get calls or emails or Facebook messages, and, people will say, I work nights and I just power listen to these. And it helps me get through the work night. Or guys who are driving across the country, hot shotters, or guys that are driving semis, and they're like, man, you got to keep these coming. They help, take my mind off things, or they might be going through something in their life, but for, 20, 30, 45 minutes, they can zone out and listen to a story or a person or something technical, and it takes their mind off it. And I realized the power of that. And that's what really drove the inspiration, for this.
Really cool.
Yeah, just to help people and give them an escape and something to think about and enjoy, and, help them in any way that we can. So I definitely see, a connection there, and
I love that.
Appreciate it.
Well, and I'm sure you, just like me, like I've met so many people already just by, like I've met you now, and well, I'm, over the phone, but like you meet so many people as you go, just by going to truck shows and social media, and like sharing the common interests of a truck, which is really, really cool.
Oh, that's 100% right. There's people that we've met that I never would have probably met otherwise. And just relationships that are built, and, people who've become friends. And it's all based around a vehicle, mostly.
That's how I kind of got to my amputation story. Is like I came up with this truck idea, and then I went to a truck show, and I met a woman who had no arms. She had one leg with a prosthetic leg, and then she also had one full leg. And I started talking to her because she's just sitting there while like people are looking at trucks and cars. And we started talking about like our different abilities, and then she told me about her husband who was there with his car, and how he is a prosthetist and also an elective amputee. So from there, I started talking to him about like my leg, and we also talked about trucks and cars, and so it kind of like brought us together. And from there, I like started talking about amputation and what I could do, like how I could do so much more without my leg. So it's just crazy how that one truck idea and going to truck shows, now I'm meeting truck people with who also have an elective amputation, and now having my leg cut off. So it's just like crazy how it really brings people together.
Well, you said it's something that is really inspiring, and we wanted people to hear what you're doing and be able to follow you, on social media, and see it, and just be able to draw the inspiration that I know for a lot of people that already follow you and are watching your story and everything, is just introduce it to a whole new, group of people who can use that as well. So we definitely appreciate your time and sharing your story, and I love how candid you are and how honest you are with the things that you post and the things that you talk about, because that's what people need to hear and want to hear, and like I said, that's what just hit me that day, when I was browsing around. So definitely keep us updated too. Let us know. Send us some pictures. I want to see that Pro Charger powder-coated pink and those wheels and tires.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to have all kinds of pictures once it starts. But, yeah, we're just waiting on parts.
That's the worst part, is waiting on them.
Yeah. But it'll be like Christmas when they get here.
That's fantastic. Well, keep up the awesome work. And, yeah, we're really excited. We've got it marked down on the calendars, that partial reveal, so we can see what you've done, and then I want to see it at SEMA.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on. I enjoyed this.
Don't forget, guys, if you call ATS, you place an order, You can just reach them at 866-209-3695. They're open 5 days a week. They're available to answer any questions that you might have, really about anything pertaining to diesel. So if it's transmission related, they got turbo kits, twin fuelers, ton of other parts. But if you call them, you place an order, mention that you heard this on the Diesel Power Podcast. Just tell whoever you chat with, whoever you place the order with at ATS, hey, I heard this on the Diesel Power Podcast. They're going to give you a free t-shirt. And they've got some different styles to choose from, and you just let them know what size you want. And they'll get it in the box with your order. And this one's on us. So make sure you mention that, give them a call. If you want to investigate, what kind of parts they have available, different things like that, just go on their website. It's www.atsdiesel.com. It's super easy to search. You find basically anything that you want for your truck just by making a couple clicks on the website. Until next week, keep the shiny side up.